A quick note, I own none of the images or artwork in this video. All rights go to their respective owners. Alright, so on to the video. Oh, and there are mild spoilers ahead, you have been warned. The first book in the soon-to-be KingKiller trilogy, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, is my favourite book. I am not speaking lightly when I say that this will not be an easy review to make. How could I possibly do The Name of the Wind justice just by talking to you for a few minutes? The short answer is, I can't. Not properly at least. What I can do is say that I highly recommend it. No other tale that I have ever read has been so meticulously well crafted. The story, characters, world, magic, and everything in between sucked me into such a degree that I have never felt previously. It is a narrative that respects the fantasy stories that have come before, and moulds past tropes, and even, dare I say, clichés, into something unique and brilliant. If that is all you need for me to convince you to go and read The Name of the Wind, then go, read the book. I guarantee you will love it. If you need a smidge more convincing, or just want to hear my in-depth thoughts on KingKiller Book 1, then stick around as we dive into the depths of Temerant, and review this gem for all it's worth, which is to say, quite a lot. The story of The Name of the Wind follows the character Kvothe, as he tells the tale of his life to a chronicler, or rather, the chronicler. The book first presents itself by following the day-to-day life of an innkeeper named Kote and his apprentice Bast. It is quickly revealed that Kote is actually a legendary hero, or villain, or demon, named Kvothe. He has many names: Kvothe the Bloodless, Kvothe the Arcane, Lightfinger, and the most infamous of all, KingKiller. The thing is, nobody really knows who Kvothe really is, and his legacy is shrouded in myths and exaggerations with just a touch of truth. It becomes apparent in the first page, in fact, that Kvothe is laying low and is a shadow of his former self. In fact, he has convinced himself in many ways that he is just an innkeeper, and now he is just waiting to die. Seeing this, Bast, his apprentice, tries desperately to reinvigorate the spark in Kvothe that was once as fiery as his hair. This is where Chronicler comes in. Following some negotiations, Kvothe agrees to tell his story to the Chronicler in 3 days, with each day representing each book in the series. Quick note, the last book, titled The Doors of Stone, is still being written by Patrick Rothfuss. From here, without spoiling too much, the first book covers Kvothe's childhood through to some extremely tragic times, all the way to the university where he starts to learn magic. It's funny, in a book where the author set out to avoid fantasy clichés, there are a surprising amount of formulaic elements in the story. The difference is in the way they are presented. You'll know what I mean if you read the book. The book also introduces the reader to many mysteries, many of which do not get answered by the end of the story. The genius of this is that most of the answers can be pieced together by small clues that Patrick Rothfuss has placed throughout the book. It makes rereads exponentially more interesting as you try to fit everything together. The story really is masterfully well told and crafted. Moving on to the characters, we have a good handful of them, most of which are very enjoyable to read. Of course, there's the protagonist Kvothe, but he's already got his fair share of attention so far in this review, so let's give the other characters a spotlight. There's Bast, Kvothe's apprentice, who is graceful, yet strikingly dark. There's his parents, there's the wizard Abinthy, the money-lender Devi, Kvothe's best friends Willem and Simon, his classmate Fila, the masters of the apprentice, Ambrose, the snubby rich character, Elodin, the mad namer, Ori, the girl in the underthing, and of course Dina. Or Dana, however you want to pronounce it. You may have noticed how I have refrained from giving too much info about who these characters are, as I want you people to experience them for yourself as you read the book. Just know that I enjoyed all of them. I will say The character Denna annoyed me immensely at first. However, the more you learn about her past, the more you understand where she is coming from, and she becomes, at least in my opinion, a smidge less annoying. A criticism that this book has gotten is that a lot of the female characters in the story are said to be beautiful based on their appearance. While I agree that this could be a toxic motion, the fact that it is brought up in the story that some of the ladies were not as dazzling as Kvothe's young hormone-filled mind thinks they are is enough to sway me. This is Kvothe's story, so it stands to reason that the female characters in the story are the ones that paid attention to him. So of course 15-year-old Kvothe would find them pretty, which in turn would addle his memory of them, changing the story. With that aside, let's talk about the magic system. Quick lesson: a soft magic system is a magic system that does not have a set of rules and regulation, and just does whatever it needs to do. Think fairy tales or Lord of the Rings. A hard magic system is a magic system that has strict rules and regulations in place, with consequences to those rules if they are not followed. Think Avatar: The Last Airbender or Christopher Paolini's Inheritance Cycle. The Name of the Wind has both hard and soft magic systems within the book. Much of the magic learned in the university is akin to a science. It makes sense. You can study it in books. The other type of magic is naming, and that is very mysterious. We know very little about it so far, and that is very much on purpose. Just know that the magic in The Name of the Wind is both satisfying and intriguing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The Name of the Wind's world building is minimal, yet incredibly well done. Let me explain. So, the book follows Kvothe's early life as he tells his tale to those in the same world as him. It is because of this that the book explains the towns, cities, and land in great detail. However, we don't have a full picture of the whole world. We are confined to where Kvothe is at the time of the story is being told. Occasionally, something will be mentioned about a kingdom on the other side of the continent, however we are left wondering what that exactly means. This is of course very intentional. I feel that if I were in the world, I could walk 50 kilometers in any direction and have a bustling land to explore. There's no cookie cutter backdrop towns here, so while we get to see little of the actual land in this book, the world building that we do see is amazing. And there's a definitive promise of more out there than the confines of the tale we are currently reading. Lastly, but absolutely not least, is the writing. I am convinced that Patrick Rothfuss used a thesaurus to handpick every single word in this book, because it shows. The book is so well crafted it feels like poetry at times. However, it is surprisingly approachable to read. Rothfuss has, in my opinion, one of the strongest voices in modern fantasy. This, combined with obvious passion for what he is writing, pours onto the page in spades. The story is surprisingly dark at times. However, it can also be humorous when it wants. For example, there is a moment when things seem so bleak that they cannot get any worse. However, the book will surprise you by putting in some humorous parts that had me at least snorting into the pages. The Name of the Wind clearly distinguishes the past and the present, with first and third person styles of writing. Oh yeah, the pages that describe Kvothe's musical talent are breathtaking to read. Seriously, I cannot tell you how good the writing is. So, here we are at the end. Have I convinced you? Are you going to read The Name of the Wind? You really should. I loved every word of it. Anyway, what did you think of the video? I know I usually do gaming content, so what do you think about me doing some book reviews? Whatever your thoughts, leave them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I've been the Aussie Viking, and I'll see you all later.